Hello, YouTube. Welcome to this new podcast, Pretty Casual Gaming. And I'm Slander, and with me is the Noobcake. Uh,
Hello.
hello. Um,
Hello.
so,
After a good amount of messing around and editing, we finally got our
yeah,
design, which is going to be for the Pretty Casual Gaming podcast, as he says. Uh, I think we should start with Sandy. If you tell people a bit about yourself, what you do, and where people can find you and stuff.
oh yeah. Normally you can find me on like Twitch, and I do have my small YouTube where I do upload like different words and so on. On Twitch you can like see me playing a different kind of games, all from World of Warcraft to Final Fantasy to some horror games to other first person shooters and so on. Yes.
Not even a return. Well, as for me, you cannot find me anywhere currently. I have done a little bit of YouTube, but all the videos I had up are now down because I wasn't happy with their quality because it was a much younger, much sillier, less authentic energy version of me. I did do Twitch for a time, but again, I haven't not recorded anything recently, mostly due to internet issues more than I get in recording whilst you're living with people. It obviously affects everyone else's internet, so that can be a ordeal.
Yeah.
But you can usually find me gaming if you watch any of Slanderman streams, more particularly his Final Fantasy ones. You can see me a lot of the time on his Final Fantasy streams, helping him out. That's my
Yeah.
main game.
Being my
Uh,
personal taxi.
yeah, basically. One of the things I was thinking about is the fact that because of obviously I play Final Fantasy 14 and I like live on it, like I spend all my time on it. One of the things that I've been seeing a lot recently is I've played the demo of Outriders, which I know you two have too, Sandy, and a lot of people online are complaining that it's going to be another live service game. And so, what I wanted to speak about this time, obviously in our first episode, would be what is it you want from the gaming industry? Because a lot of people see a live service game and they freak out. Oh no, microtransactions, having to pay money, battle passes, subs, all that kind of stuff. Like, does that bother you? Would you prefer a game that is shipped out completely and you pay for it once and then you play through it and then it's done? You can move on to the next game. Because for me personally, like I was thinking to myself, playing it, given how I play Final Fantasy, is that live service is really just a MMO light, and that I actually enjoy games more that I know I can put years worth of gaming into, as opposed to a game that I'll play once and then move on to another game.
Yeah. I do see what you mean because if you look at old games, more or less, they didn't get supported in the same way as they actually do now with live services and so on. If you look at like old school horror games or so, it is just a few hours or so. Um, so yeah, if they had like a better live service, maybe. I know there's a lot of community around them still, like speedrunners and so, which are like keeping the games alive more or less. Um, but apart from that, they are just being put back on the shelf after you complete them. Um, so yeah, and
So, your opinion of live service games, are you like for it, against it, or are you kind of indifferent?
I think I'm for it to some degree. Uh, I think you should be able to like you need to be able to decide. You don't have to put money into it, but if you do, it is to like provide a benefit for the entire game, not just yourself, but also everyone inside the game. Like, yeah. So
Well, a good it's an old game, but a good way of that gaming could go forward with such services is the
yeah,
old RuneScape idea, which was you had the free game and playing for free, you could still do loads. You could still play a game's equivalent, and it didn't end at a certain point, and then you had to give up. There was still plenty to do as on a free to play version of it.
yeah,
But you could also buy membership, which I always remember. The membership back then was like, when I played, it would have been like £3 because I was much younger and my mum wouldn't let me buy anything gaming for that expensive because obviously it's money.
yeah,
And I always remember the first membership I ever had on anything was on RuneScape because it was only £3 at the time. And just the world of stuff and possibilities you could do once you got on the membership was really good. But like, I didn't feel like if I didn't have the membership, I was losing out. And I think that would be a good way they could continue live service forwards, is do games where you have the option to play free. And obviously, you don't get everything that the people who pay do because they're
yeah,
paying, but you have enough that you don't feel like you should have to pay the game. Well, I think a lot of games right now are doing it in a method where if you don't pay, you're losing out by miles. And that's
yep,
what makes people either pay or quit the game going, no, we don't want to play this. Why should I have to pay this much?
yeah. Totally agree on that. You basically that is yeah. I guess you see that in a lot of games nowadays, honestly. Where you as a player, um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, a good one too is obviously MMOs. There's a big discrepancy between the players about different MMOs on whether things should have you pay for this MMO and then maybe you pay for the expansions. And then there's obviously sub-based ones like the ones we play, like Final
yeah,
Fantasy, World of Warcraft. And a lot of players, or more, a lot of people look at those kind of games and go, oh, we don't want to play it. It's got a sub. I don't want to be paying every month to play a game when I also have to buy the expansions and the base game, which I think is a fair argument. But at the same time, like, they give you a lot for your sub. Like, even World of Warcraft, and obviously for those who are going to be watching, like, I am not the biggest WoW fan with how it is right now. But it's not like you're completely redundant in what you can do. I think one of the big things with WoW's design is that it's actually built around the idea that you need to be on doing a lot.
yeah,
And that's actually one of the things that turned me off, is because I get really addicted to games. Um, a game that requires me to be on it tons to make progress means I will be on that game tons, and then I'm not playing other games. Like, I like to commit to a single game. Like, I live on Final Fantasy, as I said. But Final Fantasy 14 doesn't force me to be online to make progress. Like, I do static raiding, and I raid 2 days a week, and that's it. And that's me making progress. And then all the rest of the week, I can choose to, I can log on and do stuff. There's plenty on there for me
uh,
left to do, but I don't have to make progress.
no, that's true. That's true.
Instead of, like, one of the things that I want from gaming is more games that give you lots to do, but not with the idea that you need to be on that game all the time. I think that's a bad design choice, the basis, especially with games like Call of Duty, for instance. It's like, oh, you log on, you do your battle pass, you get more stuff.
Yeah,
But Call of Duty is a game where 1 year later, you need to get the next Call of Duty.
yep.
And that's just horrible practice.
It is. It is. I do think it is one of the things many people like suffer with. in terms of the Call of Duties. Like they buy this game and then they actually know next year they have to buy a new one if they want to continue getting new content for a game which is basically nearly the same.
Yeah, a good like I won't lie, I've bought Cold War, as you well know. And when I first got it, I played it quite a lot. I was actually quite happy with. I know obviously there's big controversies to it, as there always is with Call of Duty, and I played it, straight for a fair few days. I got max prestige at the time, which was third prestige before season 1 came out, and I was really enjoying the game. And then season 1 came out with obviously the battle pass and all that, and I went to go play it again, and I just realized like, if I want to stay on top and have all the best guns and get to the max prestiges and get all the battle pass, not only would I have to pay that money, but I'd also have to be on every day. And it's a game that in a year will be redundant. Everyone will move on to the next Call of Duty. And so it just defeated my drive to even play the game.
Yeah. As someone who actually have all of them since the very first one.
You have all of them?
Yes, I do. I have the very first one, the normal Call of Duty, and the expansions, and then of course Call of Duty 2, United Offense, and everyone apart from Call of Duty 3 because that wasn't released on the PC. I do enjoy the game. Said that I have played through all of them on single player, apart from 2 of them, I think. Completed them on like the hardest difficulty. But like I played multiplayer a few times and then I just kind of puts it back in in the coffin, more or less. And don't think about that game until the next one or so. But yeah, it's and doing that process while you're playing, my head keeps like returning and thinking that it will in a year or so I have to buy a new one if I want to continue this multiplayer game. So
yeah.
uh, yeah, so it
Well,
it
with the idea of what you said with the whole multiplayer game is it's not just the developers, it's the community as well.
yeah,
Because like the community thinks, oh, we have to buy the next game. It's like, well, you don't have to.
no,
If more of you didn't think like that,
yeah,
the game would last longer. Because the last Call of Duty before Cold War that I actually played was Advanced Warfare, which I know a lot of people weren't fond of. Obviously, I forget what the one that came after was, but that was even less received. But Advanced Warfare, I thought it's probably one of my favorite Call of Duties that's been in the series. I played it so much,
yeah,
and like I had to move at one point, and by the time I moved, the newest Call of Duty had come out, and I'd gone back to play Advanced Warfare, and the lobbies were dead. I couldn't get a game at all, and
yeah,
that is, I think, where it begun, where I kind of looked at Call of Duty a lot less for my shooter games. The current shooter game I play a ton of, obviously, is Apex, which is a free game, and there isn't unless they've got a trick up the sleeve. There isn't an Apex 2 coming. If you're an Apex fan, you're playing Apex.
yep,
I think a way to handle multiplayer for shooters, at least, because I know that's the big genre where shooters try repeatedly get more than one game out, would be to go with the Overwatch method, which I played Overwatch tons. I think I quit in like season 15, but I'd played since the beta. And I'm not fond of Overwatch 2, and it's not a game I plan to get because I'd fallen out with the love with the series by the time they announced it. It was one thing I'd said from the get-go is that the game needed a story.
yeah,
I find that's particularly with these games that are like, oh, all these characters have backstories and there's so much lore to the universe, and then like, but you're just shooting people online. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. And I
Yeah.
wanted a story for Overwatch. I lived for the. I even said to like my friends, like, oh, I'd happily pay for story as a DLC. Like that's how much I liked the world and that lot, is I actually wanted a story. And by the time they announced, oh, Overwatch 2 is coming with a story, it was like, yeah, it's a little too late now though. But the way, what the point I was trying to make is with Overwatch 2 is they're making it so that the multiplayer connects back to the first Overwatch. So those who don't want to buy Overwatch 2 because they don't really care about the story,
Yeah.
they don't need to. They can keep on their Overwatch 1 and they can just keep playing the multiplayer
Yeah.
with the people who move on.
Yep.
And I think that's a wise choice for a shooter game as opposed to just, oh, if you want to play Overwatch from now on, buy Overwatch 2. Because considering like the multiplayer is literally the same, as you say, like even with COD, most of the time the multiplayer is exactly the same.
Yep.
Like you're essentially asking people to buy a full price game nowadays, which is 60 quid half of the time, to play the same game they've just come from.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah. Not sure how I can what to say
Go.
against that, because I do feel it too. With all the COD games I have been playing, and some of the other games as well, like Battlefield. I used to play that a lot as well. But they haven't released a Battlefield for like 2 years now, and so
Battlefield, I feel like though when they do release a new game, you get a different game. Like that's the one good thing about
yeah,
them. I'm not always happy with the changes they make.
no,
Going going from Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1 was, I was really like the idea of the world of Battlefield 1. I was all for, like, oh yeah, World War 1, yeah, I'm all for that. And then the one thing that I'd always praised Battlefield for 4 and 3 for was the gun customization,
yeah,
and now it's gone. And I was like, this ain't a shooter for me anymore.
no. That's actually what the new Call of Duty last year got praised for, because it had a lot of gun customization, and
Yeah,
I know a lot of Battlefield people. They actually went over to try that gun customization, and playing those large war scale battles, because they used to play them on Battlefield so as well. So they did feel a bit at home at the same time because of that. But I agree that when they changed from Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1, there was a lot of cuts in the gun customization, which hurts the game a lot there.
definitely. One of the big changes from Advanced Warfare forwards that I dislike, it's a really small thing, but it's character customization. I love games with character customization. Even if I'm hardly going to see my fucking character, I love having that character customization. And Advanced Warfare had tons because you had the exosuits and the helmets and all that stuff, and you could earn them, or you obviously had that's when loot boxes was starting to become a thing, really. It
Yeah,
was still in its like infancy, and loot boxes are a sticky situation no matter how you look at it. I don't disagree with them. Like I understand why they're there, and I think that's one of my biggest personal problems looking at the gaming industry as a whole is there's a lot I don't agree to, but I can understand why it's there. Like Final Fantasy 14, oh, I have to pay for the base game. I have to buy every expansion. I have to pay my sub. Like, obviously, I can understand why people look, and then you've got the Mog station for optional items,
yeah,
and I can understand how people look at that and go, oh, that's not good practice. That's, they're just asking for more money and more money. But the quality of the content you're getting, that doesn't just come out of thin air. They don't just go, "Oh, yeah, no, we got this money from nowhere," and like, "Oh, we want Final Fantasy 16 to come out and be better than the last modern Final Fantasies." Where's that money coming from? They don't just get it from out their arse.
No. Yeah, it's
So when I hear people complaining, there's times when I can feel their pain as far as what's been added and what hasn't been added. But if you don't like it, don't go to that game. Simple
no,
as.
yeah. It's like it's like those who says the battle pass for games like Apex, PUBG, and everything is like bad. But you don't have to buy them.
Yeah,
uh,
if you don't like it, don't
it
buy it.
it is purely cosmetics, and I'm fine with that, as long as it's not going into like make your character or your weapons better, or in that sense. So
Yeah, as they say, your wallet speaks louder than your words will. You complaining on a Reddit forum or something saying, "Oh, this business practice is so scummy," but then you go and buy the battle pass anyway.
yeah,
Well, they're gonna look at your complaint and go, "Oh no, people are angry." Then look at the freaking battle pass and go, "Oh no, it's selling. Never mind."
yeah,
Because that's what happened with GTA 5. Is people were angry with the shark cards, but then everyone was buying the shark cards, and they're still a business, whether
yeah,
people like it or not. They're a business. They looked at that and went, "Oh, this is making us tons of money. Well, we'll keep doing it then." And then obviously it's moved on to Red Dead Redemption 2, and
yeah,
people are like, "Oh, well, we're not happy with this being here. What did you expect? You kept buying their shark cards."
yeah, precisely. Uh, um,
So moving on from what you want in the gaming industry as like business level, looking at the coming year, is there any games that have got you excited?
um, a few. Uh, I got Resident Evil 8 on my eyes at least, and and uh, Final Fantasy 14 as well. Um, I still have to level up in that, I know, but I do look forward to the next expansion coming, even if I'm not catch up at the moment. But that is how I am as a person. I play a lot of different video games at the same time, so
So struggle to make ends meet in each of them.
yeah,
Jack of all trades, master of none.
yep. So,
Well, for me, the coming year, there's Outriders coming
oh
the
yeah, I'm
the,
looking forward to that as well.
the
Um,
1st of April, so literally a month from now.
yeah,
And I played the demo and I love it. I don't think it's particularly like groundbreaking gameplay, right? Like I'm not like eating out the hand like, oh, this is the most amazing thing to come to gaming and ever. I don't think it's going to be a Destiny killer. I don't think it's trying to be a Destiny killer. One
it's
of the big things for Square Enix is they try to release like obviously I know it's not just Square Enix. It's People Can Fly or something like that. They made Bulletstorm, but Square, they're obviously titans of the industry. They know they are titans of the industry. They've been around years. But with 14, Around Reborn wasn't trying to be a WoW killer. And obviously, WoW is always going to be killed by WoW. That's the fate of it since the beginning of its existence.
yeah,
But 14 is slowly becoming that WoW killer because it's not trying. Everything that's come out and tried to be, oh, I'm going to kill WoW, I'm going to remove it, it's failed because they are building a game from the ground upwards with the idea that it needs to kill something else to be successful, and it
yeah.
doesn't. I think even with Destiny in existence and other looter shooters just like it, I think there's still a place in the industry for Outriders. And I'm interested. It looks great. I've had a lot of fun with it.
I had a lot of fun with it as well, even if it was just for 3-4 hours or so. I played it. It it was
I've actually done 2 run throughs of it. I did the first run through, so the actual progress one on my Technomancer,
yeah.
and then I wanted to see what the loot system was like if you reran stuff. So I've actually done a second run through as with Technomancer at max level and top world tier, which
Okay.
is 5 at the moment. Um, so I haven't got like any legendaries. Like I keep seeing online all these people like, oh, I got this legendary, and I'm like, yeah, I haven't played it that much, but I've played it enough that I'm happy with it. I know that if I buy it, I'm gonna at least get a good bit of time enjoyment of it, a couple of
Yeah.
run throughs of it maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting it to blow my mind. I reserve that spot for Final Fantasy. It always has been. I've grown up on Final Fantasy, and so. But I think the big problem with gaming is that everyone wants games to blow their mind rather than let's
And
find a game that I'm going to enjoy. Oh,
yeah,
it has to be top graphics. It needs to be the most innovative game released this year. And it's like, just enjoy the game.
that is actually one of my top priorities on my Twitch channel as well. Um, enjoy the game, not just like play it because
Because,
it's a big game, but play it because you enjoy it. Um,
but
the
on
oh, what?
on that subject, before I forget, I actually was speaking to someone who's did YouTube recently. I don't know if they've quit or whether they've just removed me from the Discord for what I said, but they were talking to me and they were saying how they couldn't decide. They couldn't find a game at the moment which they wanted to sink their teeth in and be the big game for their channel, what they became, big for. They wanted to hit 10k subscribers and they wanted
Yeah,
to find the game to get them there. And I turned around to them and said, it's not about what game you play in. People aren't coming to your YouTube channel for your game. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be 100 other YouTubers. It's from small to large, all playing the exact same game as you. No matter what game it is, people are going to be playing it. They are not coming to you because you're special because you're playing that game. They're coming to you because you're special because you're having fun and your personality is shining through for that game.
totally. I mean, there is some people who does it, but they have put a lot of hours into one game to actually make it their business. But there is a lot of other people who, like other big streamers who, or YouTubers who does their stuff for the personality. So,
Well, there's the other side of the problem with streaming for a game is that you are that game at that point. If that game dies out, so does your channel.
yeah, precisely.
I've seen a lot of YouTubers who have been known for a game, um, and then the game slowly dies and people just move on. That person,
Yeah,
or even YouTubers will get so big on a single game, they get huge, they get massive following, and
yeah,
then the game doesn't die, but they themselves burn out of that game, and they then think, oh, I want to move on to something else, and their subscribers just lose their mind. Are like, how could you leave? How could you go? You trash. Why would you go onto this game? It's crap. And it's like, I think you as a person need to establish early on, is your career as a streamer for your enjoyment or a business thing? Because if it's a business thing, then you're going to suffer for it. You have
yeah.
to suffer to make the money that you want to earn. Like, yeah, you'll get some enjoyment out of it eventually, but you choose this as a job, it's a job.
It
If you want
is.
to stream because you want to enjoy yourself and have others see you enjoy yourself, that is what you've got to start from the get-go as. You
Yeah,
can't go, oh, I'm going to do one game till I've got 500 subscribers and then I'm going to move on to something else, because you're going to lose those subscribers.
yeah,
You need to set early on what in stone what it is you want to be.
That is true. That is true.
And I think like that's another thing that's like a big startup streamer's problem is because obviously I'm not that big of a YouTuber. I doubt anyone knows me at all, besides maybe a select few nearby friends. Yeah, I think I have like 33 subscribers, and I don't think half of them even watched all my videos. And when I first started, I set up with the mindset of, could I make this a business? And I think at that point, you shouldn't be at that mindset. Your mindset should be, and looking back at it now, my mindset is, someone watched my video, someone other than me took pleasure in watching that, and that's enough for me now. And
Yeah.
I wish I had had that mindset at the time, because I burnt myself very quickly because I was just trying to roll out videos that, just felt burnt. I was just trying to I forget what the word is. The machines that they have in factories. I was just rolling out content,
Yeah.
and then I'd roll like 3 weeks worth of videos out in one night, and then I would burn out for like 3 months because I'd rolled so much stuff out. Um, and obviously I didn't grow because there was no joy in myself. And a few people still watched me, and I'm glad some people did, and I'm glad I brought people 10 minutes of joy maybe. But I think the biggest thing as a streamer is definitely you've got to start out knowing what you want, and you need to set up your mind for that. If you want to be big as a business, that is fine. You probably will fail. YouTube is YouTube or Twitch is a hard way to go forward.
It is. It is.
Like, sorry, you go first.
Uh, Personally, I can say I've been streaming for like 3 years now. Uh, I do need to like take a small break at times and actually remind myself of why am I doing this. And the reason is because I actually just want to share my passion about games with others. So
Well, I definitely feel that because obviously I'm your big requester of streaming Final Fantasy
yeah,
14. And I don't come to it because it's Final Fantasy 14. If I just wanted to see someone play Final Fantasy 14, I'd play it myself.
yeah,
As I said, I've put hours into it. I probably know the game more intimately than the freaking devs do
yeah,
sometimes. Um, but I enjoy seeing you find joy in Final Fantasy 14.
yep,
And so I'm not coming because of the game, I'm coming to see you.
yeah,
And if you became a streamer where you was just doing it for the views and not because you're having fun with it, I wouldn't come watch. Even if
no,
it was Final Fantasy 14,
yeah,
which is what I've requested you play. If you went on Final Fantasy 14, you was having no pleasure playing it and you just looked miserable the whole time,
yeah,
why would I come watch it? Especially in the world right now in the state it's in. We all need much more happy stuff in our life. Like, Jesus Christ, I turn on a TV and like, even with everything that's going on with the world, with with the pandemics and stuff,
yeah,
I turn on my TV and 90% of the adverts are, oh, if you're dying, get life insurance. And it's like, yeah, great. That's just what I needed to cheer me up. So when I go on YouTube or Twitch where I can look for something of my choice to watch, I want to watch something uplifting.
yeah. That is, yeah. it, it's true. It's with the world going on, everything is like isolated, cold at the moment, more or less. The most of the world is even in lockdown, so it not just in like in Denmark or England. It is affecting the whole world, and that you can go onto YouTube or Twitch and still find some people having a passion, being happy, enjoying themselves, even in the darkest times in in the world at the moment, more or less, it is good.
And I think
It's nice to
also
see.
that kind of positivity needs to go, especially for us as gamers. I don't just mean me and you. I mean like anyone who watches us for
Yeah,
games. We need to extend that positivity to the people who create these games because we're all on lockdown. So obviously we all are getting through our game library
yeah,
because we have nothing else to do and we want more stuff to come out. But we're not the only ones in lockdown. The people who create these games are in the same situation we are.
yeah,
I see people all the time. If there's a delay in anything that's coming out, they lose their minds.
yep,
And that's something we need to stop doing. Like, if Final Fantasy 14 to me right now went, oh, Endwalker's not coming out to 2022, because obviously it's announced for the end of this year, 2021.
yeah,
Would I be disappointed? For sure. Like, I am really hyped for this. Me as a Final Fantasy fanboy, it's got some of my favorite Final Fantasy themes coming into it. So yeah, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be mad. You know, they've got lives too. We can't expect them to die going into work because
no,
we want our shit right now. There's some points where I think the big thing, it needs to work both ways. We need to be more patient with game developers, and game developers need to be more transparent with us, because a big problem is when something like a delay happens, they give you that proper rehearsed, we've heard it a million times kind of
yeah,
response. And that's what drives people insane. That's what World of Warcraft has done for years. And you ask anybody who hates World of Warcraft, people who play World of Warcraft, they're the people who get the angriest with it. You have the people who sit at the side and go, yeah, World of Warcraft shit. But the people who are going to lose their mind and get angry at World of Warcraft is the people who play it, because it's their content that's getting cut out.
yeah,
And just the company Blizzard has become so opaque. But they're transparent, but for the wrong reasons. The transparency is that they just are not connected to the gamer base anymore.
no, no. If you actually like take a look at the company, you actually see a lot of the old faces is not even in the company anymore. So,
Yeah,
so
a lot of them either left or got fired, and who can blame
yeah,
them at what the company's becoming?
so
Obviously, as I've said, gaming companies are business companies first and foremost. But it's like if I go to buy something online, if I buy something and pay money and that thing doesn't get delivered, I've lost money, yeah, and that will make me a little angry.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lose my mind and tell these people to, I'm going to come kill them. I'm
no,
just going to, I'm just not going to go to them again. And I think the big thing with us as gamers is if you're not happy with the product, don't go to the company. I don't buy Blizzard games anymore.
no,
I stopped playing World of Warcraft. I don't play Overwatch anymore. I've got a tiny, minuscule amount of interest in Diablo 4, but I have a hilarious feeling I'm not going to be interested when it comes out because I'm just not interested in Blizzard products anymore.
no,
The way the company works, I just don't find joy in their games anymore.
no,
And so the big thing really is we as gamers need to be more positive. And if the bad happens, don't be negative. Just don't go to where that negativity is anymore.
yeah,
Find another game. There's thousands of games out there. You are bound to find one that will give you interest. A good example is I'm a big Square Enix fanboy. I know if a Square Enix game comes out, I'm probably going to buy it and enjoy it. But right now, at the end of this year, there's a game called Kenna Bridge of Spirits, I think it's called. It looks like a Pixar film, and I've got massive interest in that. Like, I didn't think I would. I took a quick glance at it, and it comes out right near my birthday, so I'm well interested in looking into it and getting it. And it's a game. I haven't searched up the developers or right like that. It's just a game that I'm looking at that interests me,
Yeah.
and I'm sure if it's a letdown, wow, I'll still get a couple of hours out of it, and I'll just find another game. I'm not going to be like heartbroken and soul destroyed. I think the only thing I'd be soul destroyed at is if Final Fantasy 14 shut down, just because I've put so much time into it. But I'm sure if Square, or at least the division that make Final Fantasy 14, if they shut it down, I suspect they'll have a good reason for it.
Yeah.
Because they've been so transparent.
Yeah. Another thing I think about when we're talking about companies and the video games and and how like if what am I trying to say here? If you like say 5-10 years ago, the social media wasn't that big for companies, like gaming companies. Most titles were not leaked, or companies weren't like hacked into to being blackmailed. We have seen a few companies being have those happen to lately as well. Like I think the social media is like having a bad influence in the game's development at times, because us as a buyer, uh, we we want the news, and the companies, they want to provide those as well. But I think there's a slight a problem with that, because when you have your expectations, and when a game company, they list something out, you're getting pretty hyped up about it. And compared to like 10 years ago, you basically didn't hear a lot about a game before it actually got released. I do remember when I was looking forward to like StarCraft 2. Not a lot of like information has been going out on that game at all, period to its release. There was like betas and so on, like half half a year before it got released, but I don't think that the media was uh like that. They kept searching for more information because the companies just didn't give anything for them. So just like with uh, Resident Evil, for example, with the remake, the remakes they have actually made here, you see a lot of fans, the communities, they actually like make Facebooks, Twitters, like, we want Resident Evil 3 remake now, um, just to say something. And then a year later, after the Resident 2 remake got massive, and it was like a cash grab just for the Resident Evil 3 remake got out there quickly afterwards. So I think it's both the players and the publishers, they are. I'm not even completely sure how to say if.
They're setting expectations so
Yeah,
much. A good example is stuff like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, all that. Like,
yeah,
the famous stories of people with both of those games set their expectations so impossibly high.
yeah,
Even if a game came out that everyone imagined it would be for both of them,
yep,
it still wouldn't be enough. People were just that ready
yep,
for whatever
yep,
it was.
precisely.
So the publishers need to manage the expectations, but so do we as gamers.
Yeah, and, and,
With the whole leaking stuff as well, or even just revealing stuff. A good example is, of course, referring back to my favorite company, Square Enix. Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts
yeah,
3, they announced them years ago. And obviously, people got hyped in that lot. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, people got hyped. And then problems in development happened, and then we didn't get the game, and people were pissed. And then
yep,
Kingdom Hearts, I personally don't like what Kingdom Hearts 3 is. My way of managing it is just leaving it. I don't play Kingdom
yeah,
Hearts. But there's a lot more people out there who aren't quite as easygoing with moving on from games as I am, and say that anger will come out on social media.
yeah. So,
Social media is a bad platform for gaming. I personally don't use social media that much in life in general.
um,
I have a Facebook account for family to get hold of
yeah,
me if they need me.
yeah,
I don't go on there otherwise. I check it maybe once every week to see if I've got any message from any family that need
yeah,
me. Most of the time I don't, so I just log off immediately.
yep,
Got my Discord for gaming friends to keep a hold of me,
yep,
but that's all it's for. It's for I don't care about what's people's the crap that's from the day-to-day life. If someone's depressed, yeah, come to me out and speak to me if you need to. But I couldn't give a damn what you've had for tea. I don't
no,
care what someone said to someone else. This is for you to talk to me if you need me as a friend, as as a shoulder to cry on. This is not a drama place for me. But
no,
that's what social media is for a lot of people.
it is.
And as you say, the gaming industry particularly has become that,
Yeah,
especially with in the past when we were younger. You had the gaming magazines and they reviewed games and all that.
yeah,
Now you have gaming reviews from from like companies. You have independent gaming journalists. You have YouTubers and streamers. And I think the big thing as well is that a lot of people get their opinions on games from the people they watch or the people they read. Make
yeah,
your own opinion. But on that note, actually, that brings me to Call of Duty and games like that. Stop putting your demo locked behind a pre-order.
yeah.
I want to play the demo so I can see if I want to pre-order the game. Don't force me to buy the game.
No, no.
Check if I want to buy the game.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's the same with those big game reveals like from E3 and yeah, other gaming conventions was the word I was looking for. Like if they, I mean, half of the games they announce that which are supposed to be big reveals nowadays have been leaked somehow, or
Oh, yeah, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, see, I told you that leak was true." And
yeah,
like Final Fantasy 16, for instance, was announced last year. And I like watching people react to stuff. It's one of my big things. It's not the most interesting content, but I just like seeing people's reactions. And Final Fantasy 16 was one of the worst reactions I've seen. It was a mixed bag. There was some that I
yeah,
really enjoyed watching people's reactions, but like a good 80% was like, oh, people said it was going to be announced, and here it is. And it was like, well, that's not a fun reaction, is it? You take all the joy out of
Yeah,
the process.
yeah. So yeah, what I was trying to say is like the big reveal is that gaming conventions aren't the same anymore like they were.
Oh, for sure.
Um, like E3 was one of the biggest ones I personally looked forward to in the past because I wanted to see which new games was coming out, but if like the last few years you actually knew what they were going to show more or less.
Yeah, because there's always a news article like this
Yeah,
gaming company has said they're going to announce this at
yeah,
E3. It's like, well, you've just announced it now. I don't need to go watch E3. I already know.
yeah. So yeah. Just what I'm trying to say is that the social media is impacting the gaming community ways things probably a bit more than we actually think about it normally.
For
So
sure. When you consider it like that, like people have already finished the games that they're waiting for in their head because of all the bloody social media
yeah,
before the games come out. And it's like, well, I don't really need that game now, do I? I've played it in my head.
yeah,
Like this Outriders, I saw like the first announcement of it like last year, I think it was. And then I've not looked for anything to do with it. Like it wasn't even a game back then that I was like, I'm gonna adore this, I'm gonna buy this. It's just something I saw. And then when the demo came out, I played that. I
yeah,
was like, yeah, this is actually quite good. I'll enjoy this. I'll have some fun gameplay with this. And now I'm planning to pre-order it.
yeah.
But like
Same.
I've not spent all this. The only exceptions with games that I will sort of read up upon is stuff like Final Fantasy 14, stuff that I know I would sooner find out one way or another.
Yeah,
But yeah, new games I prefer to kind of a lot of the time the way I see a game is I'll nip on the because obviously I'm a console gamer. I nip on the PlayStation store and check the pre-orders thingy, and I'll just look through it like, oh, is any of this interesting to me? And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get that if it is. Or like
yeah,
that's how I actually found out about the Bridge of Spirits game. Is it's just on pre-order. I've not looked into it about it. I've seen the description on the pre-order post, and I've seen like the few free screenshots that they show on the
yeah,
page. I haven't read anything about it. I've not watched a YouTuber or a streamer talk about what they know about it. I don't want to. I'm gonna wait till the game comes out. If it's even if it's just like a mediocre middle level game, at least I've had the joy. Like that's one thing as an MMO gamer that I know full well you never want to lose the joy of playing something for the first time.
no,
I love Final Fantasy 14, and until the end of me quitting WoW, I enjoyed it enough, but nothing brought me the same joy as when I did my first run through both of the games, and everything was new, and it was just amazing. Like, oh, there's Teldrassil. It's a massive tree that I can go walk on. That was awesome to me. I thought it was great. The spiders attacking me in Teldrassil and Ashen Vale and stuff.
yeah,
Awesome. Walking from Elwyn Forest and accidentally going over the river to Duskwood when I'm 20 levels too low, getting one shot by a direwolf. But
yeah,
now I do that, and like like that's why I look forward to expansions and MMOs because it's new stuff. It's stuff I've not done yet, but
yeah,
I'll go through it, and then for the rest of the expansion, I'll be like, wish I didn't do that. Now I want to go do it again, but have that first time joy. And so if you go looking at all these reviews and journalists and stuff like that of it telling you basically what the game is, you don't get that full first time enjoyment.
no.
You get a pre-perceived enjoyment, and it
I,
definitely comes in with the social media stuff.
I do remember my first game I bought, Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. It was my first game I bought with my own money, and And I can remember my brother saying, "Why would you buy a game you already have uh, downloaded at home?" Firstly, because I wanted to play it, and with myself buying it, I could actually play it online, a completely new try on it, instead of just yeah, doing playing against the computers and so on. So
Oh, there's definitely a joy in, as a kid, buying your first game. I'll always remember mine because
yeah,
mine was another Square game. It was Kingdom Hearts 2. I always remember because I'd had PlayStations and PlayStation. I'd been gaming since I was a young sprout, like that big.
yeah,
Um, uh, there was a play, when I was a child, we had a PlayStation 1, we had a Dreamcast, quickly got a PS2. And so I grew up on gaming. Like
yeah. Same. We had an Amiga, Commodore something, and PlayStation 1, and yeah, PC. We we nearly had it all, apart from some. Uh, I always had a gaming thing near me, when I was a small child. So
the first console I got that was my own was a PS2. I didn't pay for it. My mum got me it.
I
But it was the
had
first.
a Game Boy.
It was the first one that was mine because
Yeah,
every other console had always been like my dad's and my brother's, but that one was mine. And I remember I was watching TV and there was an advert on for Kingdom Hearts 2, and it was always Disney characters, and they were like lining up slowly,
yeah,
adding. And I originally thought, oh, this is a game where you go around collecting Disney characters, and they end up making this freaking army that you go do. I hadn't played the first Kingdom Hearts before I played 2. I just remember seeing that advert, and I was like, this looks awesome, building my own Disney army. So I got it, and obviously it was nothing to do with that.
no,
But I bought it and I went played through it, and it's still one of the most fun. It's pretty much the most iconic game of my childhood. It's not the game that started me on gaming, but it's the game that was the first step in me being a proper gamer for myself and
yeah.
not just playing someone else's games. And it really shaped like my interest in games. But I would just always remember being so wrong about what it was.
That's probably why I do have an. Just like you said, you have for the Kingdom Hearts. My first, like the first games like I can remember that I actually played was Resident Evil or Warcraft 2. Um, just chilling. Those are the games with my fun memories, from my childhood.
there will always
And
there'll always be something special about the games you enjoyed as a kid.
yeah, and I guess that is why I like World of Warcraft so much nowadays, because I have those fond memories from.
Well, that is where my love of Final Fantasy stems from. My first ever
Yeah,
game, Final Fantasy VI, and Final Fantasy has been a state. I know if a Final Fantasy comes out, I'm getting it. I
yeah,
don't need to see a trailer. I don't need to be told about it. I just need to know that it is coming out and that when the date and the price is, and I'm getting it.
yeah,
Even if it's just like Final Fantasy 13 has gone in history as one of the worst Final Fantasies. People hate it. I still got plenty of pleasure from it. I had my problems with it, no doubt, but I knew I'd enjoy it because it's Final Fantasy. And as you say, I've got that childhood memory of Final Fantasy 6 and
yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.
So they are haunting us in some ways.
But on the note of being a child, I think this would be a good time for us to wrap up because we're old now and we'll get tired.
Yeah, um, yeah. I think this is a good time to end as well. We have talked a lot about gaming, different games.
And our experience with the gaming industry from being a
Yeah.
child, our opinions as an adult.
Yeah, and a small introduction of ourselves as well at the start. So
I think definitely for those who are watching, we should let you know that obviously we'll be doing more of these podcasts. It isn't intended to be a single episode, and it will probably be each episode will be themed around a certain subject. Not like obviously the whole episode is, oh, this is what we have to talk about, and we are not allowed to go off on a tangent ever.
no.
I have a feeling we will, but we definitely have some ideas to speak on more stuff to do with gaming and
Yes.
subjects to do with gaming. I know you're particularly interested in getting my opinions on what is a Resident Evil, or
Yeah.
what makes something Resident Evil for us, because we've already lightly on the topic that I don't think 7 and 8 are Resident Evil.
Yeah. And that is actually there is a lot of, even on the social media as well, bad stuff like we said about.
I'm
but
joining social media.
Yeah. But even there is a lot of different topics on what is an Resident Evil game for one. Because some people, they know the game like from the fixed camera angle at the top right, just staring down, and
the freaking mansion from 1.
Yeah, and
going around the corner and getting caught all the time.
Yep. And then the third person from the 4th and 5th and 6th game, and now the 7th and 8th game is going to be a first person. So it is a fun subject, and I'm sure we can make a good podcast about that in the future as well. So
But on that note, Slandy, I will let you sign off because, well, you started, so
yeah.
So it's Tehnoobcake, so let them know where they can find you if they want to see more of your game stuff.
You can find me on Twitch, Twitch TV Slanderman, and on YouTube. But you are already here, so I've seen this movie. But yeah, I'm also on Twitter as well, and I will have a Discord link in the description as well. So.
And you can find my absolutely nothing on my YouTube channel. So you might find this there. That might be about it.
Yeah. So.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.